Good morning, everyone. It's Friday of spring break. I know some of you guys, I've had 4 kids at home all week. I love my children, but it's been a little crazy. And it's been raining. So we were trying to figure out what to do because you can't really do many things. So anyway, I don't know about you guys, but it's been kind of a crazy week, but a good week. I made 100 pigs in the blanket this morning, and they were all eaten. So, and then I got ready and came to my show. So thank you guys for tuning in. We have an amazing show today. But first, I want to talk a little bit about recovery because you guys know I'm in the recovery journey in Region at Lake Point. But Watermark is the one that started it. And it's a great program for if you want to heal from depression, anxiety, not just for people that are, addicted to drugs or are an alcoholic or shopping addiction, which actually I do have. I know y'all think that's funny. It's not funny, okay? Whenever you're so impulsive and you buy things to make yourself feel better. And so it's hard because I'm a stylist and that's what I do. Like I go shopping and buy things for my job. So it's a little challenging, but I've been really good. And I've been sober from being impulsive shopping, if that sounds good, which is crazy. But one of the things in my recovery journey is that learning how to love myself, because a lot of times when we're feeling bad about ourselves, when we're, drinking too much or shopping too much or doing all kinds of things in excess, it's because we're trying to feel better, right? We're trying to feel better because we're hurt inside or we're not feeling good. And one thing that I learned in recovery, and it was through Regen, through my little notebook that I love, it's Groundworks, is that to love yourself. And I love everyone else, but sometimes I don't love Jeanette too much. And I know it sounds real cheesy, but it is so important to love yourself and to give yourself kind of like a pat on the back and say, hey, you're doing okay. I mean, I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife, I'm a friend. I help my parents. I mean, I have 4 kids. It's a little crazy and they have issues and they need me. So it's important though to stop and know that you're doing okay. You're doing the best you can do sometimes as a parent and as a wife or as a business owner. And one thing that they encouraged us to do was to write ourselves a love letter. And I know that, we're not in the business of writing letters anymore in this day and age of social media. We do sound bites and, we do little things for Instagram. But I thought it was interesting and I started it. They're like, write yourself a letter of encouragement. Write yourself a love letter. So when you're down and you're having a bad day and you want to quit your recovery, you can read it to yourself. And so I wrote this, and I mean, it was just way off the cuff, and I'm going to share it with you guys because I was like, wow, I can't believe I wrote this about myself. And it really has encouraged me when I've gotten overwhelmed and I'm just like, I just can't do this anymore. I just want to go just escape and do something that, obviously will make me feel good for the minute, but then it's not really healthy for me in my recovery. So I just wanted to read you this letter that I wrote myself because it was in week 5, day 3, and it was about, are you willing? And one of the prayer was, dear God, please help me to be willing to follow you for my recovery and my new life. So anyway, it says to write yourself a letter, so I'll read it. It says, Jeanette, you're an amazing woman. You've given sacrificially to those around you that you love, and some that you didn't even know. God wants to do amazing things through you, but you have to focus on him for everything. He will never act in his self-interest like other men. He made you, he formed you. You are uniquely and wonderfully made in his image. He has plans to prosper you and not to harm you. He wants to give you a future. If you focus on him and his plan for you, he will work miracles in the lives of people around you and most importantly, you. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe I wrote that to myself. But it's true. And it's so important as women that we love, of course we always love everyone around us, but that we love ourselves enough to encourage ourselves and know that, hey, we're doing the best we can, and to give yourself a little break. And so that's kind of like my little tea time for today, because I read back on that. I was like, I can't believe I wrote that, because because I don't really hold myself in very high esteem sometimes, and to write that. But those are all based on truths of who God is and who God tells me he is and who he is to me in relation to me and what he wants to do for me and what he wants to do for those around me. And so I just think it's really important for us to remember that. So anyway, that's my tea time today. But my first guest, guys, talk about healthy. Okay, self-care. That's inward spiritual self-care, right? But my guest, Marcia Prince, the Healthanista. Yeah, Healthanista. She's here with me today, and I'm so honored to have her. I'm such a fan of hers.
Thank you for having me.
She's all about being healthy, from everything you eat to your fitness and all of that. So tell us a little bit about how you started.
Well, you were talking about recovery.
Yes.
I feel like I'm a recovering, basically unhealthy lifestylist.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. I love that.
Yeah, so I used to smoke, drink, do drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was negative, hated myself. So I always say to myself,
I love
was
this.
like a former negative Nelly, and now I'm marvelous Marcia.
Oh my gosh, see how organic this just, I had no idea. You guys, I had no idea about that.
No, we actually haven't talked before. So.
That's amazing.
So for the first 28 years, I just came from rough beginnings.
Right.
And, just took that on into my adulthood. And I had all these unhealthy behaviors at one time that I was like, okay, either I'm going to kill myself, I obviously contemplated suicide, or I was going to move on. So I was like, those are my two choices.
Right.
Yeah, and you think like when God comes in your life, he speaks to you, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, how'd I get here? So here I am at 44, just recovering from all kinds of unhealthy behaviors.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
From 28 to 44. Yeah.
And you've been, well, as we say in the program, you've been sober.
Well, I would say sober. So I was like
sober from negative and unhealthy living.
We'll
say that.
Sober from that. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So every day's been a battle. Like my best friend, she was a recovering alcoholic for 6 years.
Wow.
So when I talk to her, it's like a day in and day out thing. She has to like remind herself.
Right.
And same thing for me. I have to remind myself to be healthy every single day because it's choices. It's choices.
It is.
And it's small choices we make every day that compound to large choices later on.
Absolutely.
Because in the beginning, you're like, why am I doing this? This isn't fun.
Right.
When you're going the process, you're not getting instant gratification, especially like whether you go through a healthy lifestyle or you're trying to get sober, or maybe you get rid of your friends. You know what I mean? Maybe you have a bad set of
a toxic environment.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so you're like, I don't want to get rid of my friends because you have this little codependency with them.
Right.
But when you change it, it's like my positive tribe is way bigger than my negative tribe.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, but it went through an evolution. It was hard. Like I still fight for it every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not easy.
It's not easy at all.
No, it's not easy. It's not easy to be healthy, and I'm a health coach.
Well, and you deal with that. People come to you
time.
because they're trying to get healthy.
That's right.
They're trying to change negative patterns in their life. Whether it be eating or not exercising or. And really, it's not just that, like you said. It's all connected, right?
It's everything. Because women come to me thinking, oh, I'm going to go get on this next fitness program. Or, she's going to tell me what exactly eat, the macros, the calories, and how to work out. And at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about behaviors. Do you have healthy behaviors or do you have unhealthy behaviors? Because you can tell a lot about a person from their behaviors. Do you hit snooze or do you get out of bed and go work out? Do you order the cheeseburger or do you order the salad? Do you go to bed early or do you stay up late? Like all these little tiny things you do on a daily basis, they compound into larger things later. So in 10, 15, 20 years, you're like, how did I get like this? How did I gain this extra 30 pounds? But it was a compound of unhealthy behaviors. And I'm like the queen of back in the day, unhealthy behaviors. So I can relate to a lot of women. They're like, I can't quit fast food. And I'm like, yes, you can. I used to work at McDonald's. They're like, can't quit smoking. I'm like, yes, you can. When I wanted to quit smoking, I told myself, of course, I quit like 80 times. But hey, it happens.
It happens.
It happens. But when I did, I told myself, my girlfriend invited me to boot camp.
Yes.
And she's like, hey, do this cardio class. I'm like, okay. So I'm doing it. Of course I'm winded. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? So I'm like, every time I want to smoke a cigarette I'm going to jump up and down and do jumping jacks or like, act like I have a jump rope. That way I can get winded and I won't want to cigarette.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this because I can't even breathe. And I'm only 28 years old.
Oh, yes. So it was like a series of like finding little things. And it's like I didn't give all my habits up at once at 28 is giving up one habit. The first thing was smoking. And then it was doing drugs. Then it was like stop drinking. And then it was like, let me make efforts to go work out. Let me make efforts to eat healthier food. And I had to learn what healthy food was. I thought back then a lean cuisine
was healthy.
It's so high in the microwave.
It's so high in sodium.
I know,
yes.
right? And I've been all these crazy diets, and it wasn't even about being on a diet. It was about nourishing and healing. So it was education. So a lot of my clients, when they come to me, they really don't have the education. They just don't know. And so it's like educating them and holding them accountable. And it's giving them one or two things to do that they can master. Not like, here's, do this 100% to the T. I always tell them it's not all or nothing. Don't do all or nothing. It's all and some things.
I like that.
Yes,
I love that.
That's life. You're always going to have a birthday, special occasion, or event. And you might have motivation to train for something like a beach trip or a wedding, but what happens after that, right? You have to keep going. You just have to keep going. You have to find the next goal or motivation to keep you going.
And you have to have something that's manageable. That's what I want to talk to you about because, first of all, going back to working out and people in recovery, I'm in a huge community of recovery because my husband's in recovery too, and everyone works out.
Yeah,
everyone is.
Good.
It's so crazy.
The endorphins.
They're doing marathons. We're working out. Like it's like we're eating health. It's really crazy because it's like you have to replace that kind of thing with something that's healthy.
Sure.
But it is funny for that.
Yeah.
But number two, to be manageable, like I said, I'm a mother of 4 children. I have 2 usually all the time, and then I have my other 2 maybe twice a month, for a couple of days. So, but I'm still busy. I'll say that.
Always.
And I have been overwhelmed sometimes. Like I used to do all raw in LA. I did all raw for a while, and I could maintain that because I didn't have kids then.
Sure.
And it was just me. And but the thing is that I love how you said it's just doing one thing, doing some things, like you said, not doing all or nothing.
All or nothing.
Because I feel like some women, especially getting up there in age, it's like we get overwhelmed. We're like, oh, we've done that. It's so overwhelming. Like just make it 1, 2, 3 ABC for me.
Right. Exactly.
And you do that in your program
all the time because I will assess a woman and be like, okay, what are you struggling with? Right. I don't want to just give her this diet and this workout program because at the end of the day, she can do that. She has a motivation, but is it sustainable? It's like, what can you sustain in your life? Because I want to teach them to pick 1 or 2 things to change, and then they know they have the capability to change other things.
So we have 1 or 2 things. We start changing those.
Small things.
Then we're like, wow, and we kind of get a medal. We give ourselves a pound, and then we're like, okay, I did that. I can do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
That just like
sense.
Obviously you're a mom to your kids. I feel like I'm a mom to my clients.
Right.
I'm the fitness mom, so I have to teach them like do this and yay, when they master it and they're like, oh my God, this was easier than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Because at first it is hard. It's always hard in the beginning. But once you create the pattern and you're like, I got this. I can totally do this. And it's always, I always say, if you're in business, find a business coach if you want to take the next level. If your health is failing, find a health coach to take your health to the next level. Whatever you're trying to improve in your life, hire somebody to keep you accountable. It's all about accountability. So it's changing 1 or 2 things, being accountable. Because if you're not accountable to yourself, who are you accountable to, right? Even as a health coach, do I love to work out every single day? No. Do I love to eat healthy every day? No. But I got to hold myself accountable because I have clients. They're watching me just like your kids are watching you.
Right.
They're watching me too.
Right.
So I even put on my stories too, like the days that I'm struggling, you want to be authentic and real with your clients, and the days that I'm super excited to do things. You know what I mean? Like this weather right now, I'm struggling with. Now we have sun. But the first,
it bummed me out. I'm very much like where my environment is. Like I'll get depressed or whatever, and it was bumming me out. I was like trying everything to stay positive.
Like having seasonal affective disorder.
Yes,
I'm like, I know that I'm solar powered by sun. So,
me too.
So I'm like,
I need to live in Miami, or
I know.
Yes,
I'm going there next week. Actually,
so jealous.
So no, but it's about doing small things daily. And in today's day and age, we actually have the most accessible. We're accessible to everything, right? It's right on our phones, guys. We have this here.
Yes, for sure.
We can hire a coach from our phone. We could download an app and put something in there. We can, if you don't want to go grocery shopping, we go to Instacart. Like like I can't afford a gym membership. Go on YouTube, you can get it for free. Like we have everything out there.
We do. There's really no excuse.
And there's free coaching groups. Like I offer free coaching groups. I have one-on-ones, which obviously they pay premium rates. And then I have these free coaching groups where I give tips. You guys get into a free coaching group. And mine's all for women, and they get in there. I give them tips.
Oh, I love that.
Weekly or daily. I want to keep, people motivated. So joining a free group to learn something and then maybe holding yourself accountable, that's the way to do it. We have that accessibility to do it today.
Well, I was going to ask you, like when you had your change and your whole okay, it's either this or death.
Yes.
I'm either going to have to make a huge life or I'm just going to die because this isn't going to, I know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you had someone that was a mentor or someone that kind of pulled you aside and said, hey, I care about you. I want you to change. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to keep you accountable. Did you have someone like that?
I tell people this is kind of crazy. If it's possible, I had the mentor who not to be. Okay. Like who I didn't want to be like. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And it was my parents. Came from rough beginnings. That's a whole different story. But yeah, I did not want to be anything like them. So sometimes we have mentors who we do not want to be like, right? You get raised.
You want to be the opposite.
Opposite. Yes. I'm like, I'm not going to be this. I'm not going to go into drugs, drinking, and smoking and going on this downward spiral.
But see, that is so hard because that's learned. That's what you've learned.
I've learned. Yeah. Learned behaviors.
Those kind of patterns and behaviors are very difficult to break.
Oh, they are.
From what I understand, being in the program and then being around a bunch of people, it's so hard to.
It is
because you inherit those things and you do the same things that you saw and you were around
over and over. But here's what happened. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
I wasn't feeling good. I didn't feel right. I just wanted to end my life. At 28, I had no career. I had nothing going on. Like I went to school and decided I wasn't going to be a nurse.
Well, I saw that you were nurse. Yeah, you were in your nursing.
Did the whole 4 years. I was working the bars, trying to make money because I was paying for my own school. I had to pay for my own school. Nobody paid for it. So I paid for my own school, working at the bars, slinging beers. And then basically, obviously having a toxic lifestyle in between.
Right.
And it just like at one moment, I'm like, I just need to either, somebody had said something to me. It was a girlfriend. And she was like, you always date the wrong guys, and you're always really negative. And she was like putting this to me. I was like, oh my God. Like it just slapped me in the face when she told me this. I'm like, you're right. Either I continue on this path of destruction or I go the other path. And I kind of didn't know what I was doing at first. I felt like I was fumbling around how to be healthy, how to be positive. Because I truly, at that point in my life, did not have a positive influence. Because even the friend that was telling me was drunk one night telling me. And I'm like, great, this is like obviously truth serum. Yes. Obviously I needed to hear it and it resonated with me because it stuck with me to this day.
Right.
So I just thought, okay, first things first, I'm going to quit smoking. Like I knew it from the boot camp, and then I stopped drinking, and then I stopped, it was like, let me go to the gym more. And then it was like, I went to nursing school, decided not to be a nurse, at the end of the day, after 4 years, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then it was funny, my husband now, who was my boyfriend at the time, he was like, I think you like health and fitness. I'm like, what? He was dating me and I was stopping all these bad behaviors. And he was watching me at the end of my bad behaviors as we were dating. And and he thought I was healthy. I was like, I fooled you.
Well, it's all relative, right?
It is all relative. It's all relative. Yeah, because I was like, I stopped this and I'd stop that. And all of a sudden, here I became this healthier person. So he got to watch the whole entire transition.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That that people point that out. Sometimes your environment says, well, this is what you need to be doing. When you're kind of like, well, I don't know. Well, so where do we go to find out more about what you do, and then your free coaching that your tips, which is on I know your social.
Yes. So Plant Chicks.
Okay, Plant Chicks.
PLANTCHIC.
Okay.
Like Plant Chic or Plant Chicks. .com, or you can just go on Facebook groups. You can go to Plant Chicks Tribe, and that's a free group. We'll let you in and basically help get you healthy.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. Yeah, wow. I could have her on the entire show where you're going to have to come back and share some more things with us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Of course. Of course. And next up, we have Dixie Dixon, who is my friend, but celebrity photographer and Nikon ambassador. And we just had a shoot yesterday, and we had a little interview afterwards about her new book that just came out. Hi, guys. I'm here with my very good friend, Dixie Dixon, celebrity photographer, Nikon ambassador. I mean, what do you not do? author of her own book, which is what we're going to talk about. And we just finished a shoot here at Fort Worth Camera, right?
Yes,
Fort Worth
we
Camera.
did.
Yeah, and we did a really fun fashion shoot,
right?
right?
It was a blast.
Yes.
It was a dream shoot.
I mean, we've been shooting together for, since 2008, so that's been what, like 11 years?
It has.
That's weird.
That is really weird.
I don't feel that old.
How did that go? No, you're
I don't
so
know.
young. What are you talking about?
But she's so gracious because I was like, Dixie, I want to interview you about your book. I mean, she has her own book, and it's where can you get your book?
Barnes & Noble.
Okay,
Yes.
so tell me about the book, The Fashion and
Absolutely.
Lifestyle Photography by Dixie Dixon.
Oh my goodness.
It's so cool, and a lot of my pictures that I styled are in
There
here
are.
too.
There's so much
Yes,
work in there.
it's super cool.
Oh my goodness. It was crazy.
Tell me about what made you want to do a book.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. I was actually speaking at the Nikon booth
Uh-huh.
at a big trade show, photography trade show.
In Vegas?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
It was crazy because I spoke, and then this author, this publisher came up to me after I spoke and said, hey, we would love for you to write a book. And I said, I've never written a book before, but hey, I'm game. And so I spent a year like writing it, and it's basically everything that goes into creating like your dream career in photography and commercial and fashion.
It has such, guys, I was just going through this earlier.
So
It has all the industry secrets in it. She spilled all of them. Which is like, this took us years and years and thousands upon thousands of dollars
So
to kind of learn. And I mean, she has like from the beginning to end to how to do a photo shoot, how to do a commercial photo shoot, a fashion shoot, and any kind of shoot that you would want to do. She has like step 1, 2, 3, ABC in this amazing book.
Oh, yes.
That is so cool. And what did you think about it? I'm sure it was like, wow, I hadn't done this before. What was your experience? I mean, what was your experience like? Was it?
It was
did
really
you like
good.
it or?
I loved it.
You did?
I loved
Oh, cool.
it. I mean, finding time to write was tough.
Yeah.
But actually, when I did sit down and write it, I almost feel like I put my first, 10 years of shooting into this book. So it was kind of like a nice. I don't know, it felt good to get it all out there.
Right.
It's everything I learned. It's something that I wish that I had had when I started, so it made my life a lot easier.
There was nothing like this when I started.
Yeah, totally.
No, I had to just learn it basically on set.
Yeah,
and by
exactly.
experience and by, screwing up and learning how to do things right. It's like, wow.
You'll hear
That's
about some of the
cool.
screw ups in there too.
Oh, you do? Things not to do?
Yes, things not to do.
Pitfalls to avoid and things like that.
Right.
What's a pitfall? What's an easy thing that most like new photographers think, oh, this is a good idea, and then you're like, oh no, that is not a good idea.
Well, I will tell you, when I was first starting and I didn't have a stylist,
Yes.
which is amazing you to work with, I would try to style my own shoots. And I try to tell you guys, when you try to style your own shoots as a photographer, sometimes it can be really bad. Like, I would overstyle everything. I would have way too many props. I would have so much going on, so much hair, so much makeup, and it's too much. You have to have, when you work with a team of people that creatively inspire you and that know what they're doing, like you're such on your A game with styling, and then when you combine that with the photography and you work with a team, it just amplifies your work so much faster. So I would say find your dream team. That's really the biggest thing.
I like that. Find your dream
teamwork
team.
makes the dream work.
Yeah, it really does, because when you have everyone doing their specific and they're so focused, like their job, then you can focus on yours, and you don't have to be spread so thin, because when you're spread so thin, I don't think you can execute as well, like on a shoot, from my experience.
Totally. It's tough, unless it's a simple concept, but any other like conceptual stuff, I was doing the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, and I remember the agencies would be like, what were you thinking?
You're like, I don't know, I was just trying.
And they would keep saying, stop putting the hats on the models.
They don't like hats.
No.
We both love hats. We both have a love for hats. In fact, we just used a hat in this last shoot.
Yes, two.
Exactly, two. One of Dixie's.
Love it, yes.
Because she's known for her hats. But, well, that is so cool. So tell me, I mean, did you always grow up to want to be, a photographer? Or, yes?
I did. I grew up, gosh, an only child, obviously.
Yes.
And so
very loved by her parents.
Yes. Mom and Papa Bear. But yeah, I've always, like when I was little, I would literally style out my stuffed animals and photograph them all over the house.
Oh my gosh,
when I was like
love
5.
that.
So it's crazy. I remember I have these original pictures of like all of my stuffed animals, like from.
Is that in the book?
I wish no. Like I didn't include that. I didn't go that far. For sure. So
But you have to start somewhere.
You do.
Yeah.
It was a fun way to entertain myself when I was little, and
Oh.
just grew from there.
And it's organic for you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this is something that you live, breathe, and eat, basically.
Totally. I don't know about you, but I feel like whenever I am on set shooting with a great team, like never am I ever more present than I am when I'm on a photo shoot. Like in your element, just doing your thing, and it's almost like therapeutic.
It really is.
So,
It really is.
Do you feel that way when you
Oh
style?
my gosh, 100%.
You just get in your zone.
100%. It's just like, it just comes natural, and it's like, this is just, but I was styling, you know, I styled everyone ever since I was like, you know, 5 or 6. I think I was styling everyone in the house, and my sister, my poor sister, and my brother, I dressed him up like a girl, you know, my boyfriends, and all kinds of stuff, yes. All my best friends. So I understand totally. That is so cool. Well, one big thing that you accomplished very early in your career was you became a Nikon ambassador.
Yes.
And that is not an easy feat. And a lot of people are super jealous of that. I know you photographers out there, because I know some of y'all. But I think it's so cool. How did that how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so basically, I go to all these trade shows.
Right.
So a business teacher in college, he said, if you're interested in pursuing a career in a certain industry, join the trade organizations associated with that industry. Right. So I joined like 4 of them in college. I joined like Professional Photographers of America, I joined Wedding Portrait Photographers of America, like all of them, advertising photographers. There's a bunch of different clubs or organizations, and I started entering contests. Okay. So one of my images ended up making and winning this big contest to go to this big trade show. And then, so I got to meet everyone within the industry. And then fast forward a few years, the president of that organization introduced me to one of the marketing directors at Nikon, who then critiqued my work, and he's like, we don't really do sponsorships, but I'd love to check out your work, and he really ended up liking it. And so then I kept him updated for like 2 years on just my new stuff, and eventually they hired me to shoot for like one of their camera campaigns. They're coming out, so it kind of snowballed from there. Like lots of different things came up, and speaking,
everything.
Yeah, and then they launched the ambassador program, and I got to be a part of that. Still have to pinch myself.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is so incredible.
So
that because that kind of, you know, company behind you as a photographer, it just gives you such validation. Not that you need it, but it's so amazing. And from there, she's gone on to also be an ambassador for Pro Photo. What all? G-Tech. You know, it's because she's like an influencer. She is an influencer in the photography world, in the professional photography world. And I think that's so incredible. I mean, you even recently went to Italy, right?
Yes,
tell us a little bit about that, what you did shooting there.
Oh my gosh, we have to go back and shoot.
At the Amalfi Coast. I'm so jealous.
Yes, oh my goodness. So basically, Manfrotto, the tripod company.
Yes.
So I use a lot of their tripods, especially for video and their bags as well.
Right.
They just launched a new bag line. For camera bags, and they're actually the first camera bags that have 4 wheels, apparently, so you can glide through the airport, super easy. Cool. They're called like the Reloader series. And so they asked me to be a part of that campaign, and so basically go to Italy and then do a really cool video of me traveling with the bag.
That is
so much fun.
Hey, you want to go to Italy? I mean, the Amalfi Coast? I mean, who doesn't? That's amazing.
Can't say no to that.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Well, what great opportunities. And the one thing I love about working, obviously I love working with your like family to me, but it's also, you're so down to earth, and you always are so, you're so gentle with everyone that you work with, because you have that sensitive spirit, because sometimes the industry isn't always that gentle, and I think that's a hard thing to balance, especially when you have so many personalities and stuff. And I feel like you've really kind of built your team as far as like, you know, having your producer, having Nancy, and having people around you that kind of help you create that, because you used to do that all by your own.
Totally.
You would put the entire shoot together. Even after you stopped styling, she would put the entire shoot together. And now you have a great team that works well, you know, in a professional environment, because you can't be all things to all people.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
And having Eric, you know, doing lighting.
Oh yes, definitely Eric.
So huge. He's incredible.
Yeah.
And then just, I gotta tell you, your enthusiasm, it's just, her enthusiasm on set is just amazing. It's like the best, it creates the best atmosphere and energy.
Thank you.
It does, because really that's what it's all about.
It is.
I mean, that's how you get the best images, just creating this fun atmosphere. Because, I mean, if photography's not fun, then why do it?
Why do it, right? I mean, we love what we do, and we are very blessed to be able to get to do what we love, but at the same time, it can be we've been on those sets where it wasn't fun.
Yes.
And because the energy is kind of stifled, or it's negative, and that really does affect, don't you think? It affects, we were talking about that earlier, it really affects the energy. And so many people, and I understand, I understand campaigns and ad agencies, I understand all that. But at the same time, I just wish sometimes we would get a little bit more freedom, because we kind of know what we're doing. And then I know we can kind of get off course because we're a little crazy and creative, but it's good to have that nice balance of direction, but then let us do our thing.
Totally. That is
and
true.
I feel like you're really good about that. She's so good also with clients. And didn't you major in entrepreneur?
I did. Yeah,
see, that's what's so interesting, is that she was a business major at TCU. So guys, I think that's so interesting, because she looked at it from day one as a business. She was not playing photographer or anything like that. This is day one. This was a business she was going to grow. And I remember even looking on your refrigerator, I don't know if you remember this, when you lived in Rockwall, and you had these inspirational quotes about creating wealth and creating jobs for yourself and creating success.
Oh yeah.
And I think she was all of 26 or 25 or 20. I don't even know, super young. And I was just so impressed. Because I was like, you're so focused. Aww. And I know another photographer like you in LA, Kelsey Edwards, who also, she was an entrepreneur. That's what she majored in.
Oh my God.
And I think when you approach photography or styling or hair and makeup as a business, it's much better than just, oh, well, okay, being more creative and being looser about it. Don't you think?
Totally, I think so. I think it's good to have that focus, especially with marketing and branding.
Yes.
Having that sort of background is really nice to have. But that's all learnable stuff.
Yeah, it is.
You can go take some business courses and stuff like that, I would have loved to major in photography, but, I was like, I got to figure out the business side because I actually have to make a living.
See? Smart, blonde, and smart. See? It's all a facade, because she's real smart. She's just real cute and real smart. So what's next for Dixie Dixon?
Oh my goodness. So many fun shoots coming up.
Yes, okay.
And lots of traveling.
Lots of traveling. Okay, I just didn't know if you had your own show.
Oh my gosh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be really fun. You never know.
Camera line or whatever, yeah.
You never know, maybe hats.
Oh, hats. Oh, I want to collaborate on that.
Yes, I would love
awesome.
That. Oh,
well, we just appreciate you so much. You're going to be at Fort Worth Camera March.
May 3rd.
Oh, May 3rd. Now tell them all about that. You're going to be at
we're going to be doing a really fun live shoot May 3rd here at Fort Worth Camera. And we're going to have champagne, and you can hang out and watch the shoot and shoot yourself. Shoot the model yourself.
Oh, very cool. And ask Dixie, are you going to be there on to answer questions and stuff? And also you can purchase her book here at Fort Worth Camera and online and at Amazon and at Barnes & Noble, right?
Yep.
She is so
everywhere.
fancy, guys.
Oh
my Lord.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for just coming on my little show, but I really I'm so proud of you, and I always want to encourage and all about the Boss Babes. And we started kind of out together, so I love that.
Did.
So there'll be more to come with Dixie in our shoot. So thank you guys. Sorry, we're having too much fun up here, guys. I'm here with my girl Leah.
Hey.
And we got a very special rest of the show for you, right, Leah?
Yeah, the rest of the show. Follow up.
Tell us what's happening.
To all the tea that was spilled.
Yes.
Yeah, earlier. So we had Sundance Square Gate 2019 that occurred a couple weeks ago?
2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Yeah. And then there was a big influencer, blogger, just discussion going around in the Metroplex, which was great because we got to open up the conversation to diversity and inclusion in advertising.
Right.
That helped me because I was just coming from one perspective, which was from the woman of color, what I've seen being in the industry 10 plus years, how has it evolved. But then I had so many amazing friends that weighed in from other issues that we see, right, in beauty or in fashion that deal with ageism or that deal with size issues. And so I brought some girlfriends with me and one that was kind of involved in the controversy.
I know, and I want to ask you first, because I saw your posts, and I'm like, she's hot. She is hot about this because it was an advertisement, and it was all blonde hair, blue eyed white girls, and come learn about blogging. And Leah, it hit a chord with you.
Yeah, just because over the years, I've had to work really hard, but I've gotten
Sure.
denied for a lot of things because I didn't look a certain way, or just to go a step further, I didn't blog a certain way.
Right.
So I was like, dang, you know, I know so many cool girls that could, you know, appeal to someone like me or to a younger girl that maybe wants to get into blogging just like me. But from the onset, if they were to look at it, it would be like, oh, well, I'm communicating that you can't be successful unless you look a certain way.
You don't fit into this mold, so you're not welcome in the club.
Yeah.
So you might as well go do something else because you're never going to make it here.
And even if it doesn't, you know, externally say that on its surface,
what it says.
It kind of communicates that in
Yeah.
a way. And so my only point was for them to just be a little bit more careful in how they're doing their advertising, and to go a step further to say, yes, these are all the cool kids in the club, but dig a little bit deeper to say, who else can we bring into this equation so everybody feels like, you know, they're invited to the party.
Well, because it takes all kinds.
It does.
I mean, there's all kinds of influences all over the world. It's not just one type. And I think that, like you said, when you brought it to their attention, they were
Like,
pretty
we didn't even think
receptive.
about that.
Right? They were totally receptive. And that's what I love Leah. She's always I'm about education. I'm about learning to educate people about diversity and things like that.
Yeah, and
You
I
know?
think because of society and media, when you bring it up, and then specifically me being an African-American woman, automatically people think it's going to be an aggressive conversation, or that I'm coming as the angry Black woman. And that's not it at all. I'm very much about education. I understand that things inadvertently happen, and I think they appreciated that. It was a very professional conversation.
That's good.
I'm just like, how can we make this better? I'm willing to work with you guys so you can just have another set of eyes, because they told me there was no layer process, right? There was no checks and balances. It's just, hey, I'm hired in this position, and if I want to post something on social media, there's no one above me to say, okay, that ain't right. There was nobody like that. So
that doesn't represent our demographic
at all.
Yes.
And I knew it was successful, and we're going to get to one of my dear friends that was there, Jordan, to talk about, because when I looked out at the room, there were women over 40 that were there. There was a Latina population that came up to me afterwards that said, you know, I've never seen this before. And I had friends that didn't show up because of that advertisement. So I'm glad someone spoke up, because sometimes we feel like we can't voice these issues and be heard. So I kind of feel great about it. I thought it was successful, but I also feel
That's
like
so awesome.
It did kind of have some negative connotations, and I learned some things from it as well that we'll kind of get into it. But I feel like it brought the community together because people could see my viewpoint, but then other people brought in things to say, Leah, your followers were wrong about this, where I was like, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. And maybe as a people, we should, you know, look at these issues as well. And I think it'll kind of further push everybody to come together so we can, you know, celebrate all the beautiful colors of the rainbow.
Right, exactly.
like,
Have our kumbaya moment.
Jesus
right?
love all the little
Come
children.
Come on.
Natural hair, fro,
Everything.
blonde,
Yes.
you know,
I always
straight,
wanted
whatever.
straight hair. I used to cry because my hair wasn't straight. So we have some amazing
I do
people.
that right now. What have I done?
What have I done to
I went
deserve
back
this
to
hair?
my roots, and it's a lot harder than I thought. Jesus.
So we have some really
what
cool
wigs are
people
for.
on the panel.
We do. So I brought back Stephanie
Yes.
Dranka,
From
my dear friend.
2 weeks ago, we had a major
2 weeks
conversation
ago.
with Stephanie.
There's Stephanie.
She's so cool. She's a creative visual storyteller.
Yeah, photography, travels, does a lot of amazing work with her husband. You want to reintroduce yourself?
Stephanie Dranka, photographer, former recovering fashion blogger. And
Oh, I love it. She's in recovery too.
Writer, just storyteller of trying to uplift other people's stories as well as tell my own.
I love that you said you like to uplift people's stories and you want to help people tell their stories. I love that.
I do too. Just because, again, I think that this platform is so huge where you can do more than just to promote yourself.
Exactly.
When you focus on others and what they need from you, or you are really focused on your audience and how you're inspiring them, I think that's what kind of takes the industry forward versus, you know, like, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Absolutely.
And Stephanie's great with that.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you try this one.
No. You go ahead.
Jeanette's afraid to say Jordan's name. But this is my friend Jordan Abel, and she's Adore More with Jor.
Got it.
Bloop. And here she is on the screen. She is a Fort Worth influencer and blogger, and she was actually involved in the event.
We had a rough start to our friendship, but I'm all about it.
You know, you have to break certain things down and hit the bottom, but we had nowhere else to go but
up.
We're up. We're on the horizon.
And we're tight now. I mean,
we're tight.
Here on a podcast. What the heck? How did this happen?
Here. And I appreciate you being open to that too. To be open to the conversation. And to just kind of vibe with us and let us know your thoughts, because I did feel bad after the fact, after I kind of screenshotted it and went on my rant, like maybe I should have put like those little blindfold things over y'all's faces, but they still would have figured out who you guys were anyways. But I appreciate you being here to kind of discuss your
Thanks
thoughts.
for having me. So I don't know. I'll be honest. You opened my eyes, and I didn't realize being on the panel. I didn't realize it. I was just honored to be asked to speak and everything.
Sure.
And so then when it was brought to my attention, I was like, wow, we do all look the same. It does. It's the same girl that they're going after. And I don't know, being an influencer and being in this space, seeing advertisements on the weekly, seeing Instagram on the weekly, it's the same looking girl, and then it's the same girls nowadays. It's the same look, and that's a problem. And I don't know, you've just really opened my eyes, and so I thank you to that, because now I have a whole new outlook on it, and I think having things and conversations like this, that's only going to keep making it better, because like someone like me who wasn't aware of it, you know what I mean? So if we can just keep spreading the word and word of diversity, then
well, sure.
I don't know.
And Stephanie, you have this book with you.
Over there.
She left the book.
I brought a book about white fragility, also one about toxic inequality, and just ways to talk about subjects that are really hard. And I think what shuts these conversations down is the tendency to take it really personally on both sides. And so, as women of color, we're seen as aggressive, but these are things that we're really passionate about because this is our life. Right. And I know from the other side, it's, seeing like we were personally attacking the people that were in the advertisement when that wasn't it at all. And that's how I took it. I mean, negatively. And when you're talking about my hair color and what I'm wearing, and, I mean, y'all would take it the same way if people were saying that. You know what I mean? And so that's how I was viewing it, and that's why why I took a stand and said something about it. But I 100% agree with everything y'all are saying.
For
both
sure.
ways.
And it kind of does that too when it's like your face that's on it.
Yeah, it's like,
so at the end, I was like, I'm not taking back anything that I said, because 100% what I was targeting was Sundance Square as a professional organization that should have all these checks and balances in place. Not taking it back.
And
I let them know I'm not taking this down.
I love it.
But resharing it maybe so fast without thinking about, maybe the girls involved, even though they had absolutely nothing to do with it.
They were just chosen.
Affect them.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, my followers, they're thugs. You say one thing, especially I've had some devoted that have seen my entire journey for the past 10 plus years.
Right.
So they were just like, why is all this stuff coming out? Because that's not her heart. That's not her brand. That's not this. So I feel bad because sometimes I can't control them fast enough before in social media. And you got the keyboard thugs.
It's at our fingertips all the time.
Well, and it's so easy to say something hateful when you're not sitting there in front of someone's face, which I think is so important because you did join the conversation. You ended up on the panel and forth. And now we're here at a podcast talking face to face and coming to an understanding of how to approach these kind of things in the future.
Because it's not just Sundance, and unfortunately it won't end there.
Right.
And I think what's really important for people to understand is that you don't have to be racist to benefit from racist systems that are in place. And I'm sorry, but fashion, the blogger influencer world is a racist system. It was, built by people in power who get to pick and choose kind of what
it's like
the
a
trends
pageant.
are.
It's like pageants.
It is. It's a pageant, and if all the judges are a certain type, and all of the people that are in places of power in influencer agencies who are deciding who gets campaigns, who gets reshared on platforms that have millions of followers, who is getting the affiliate commissions from those, who has the money to kind of spend on items that they can get profit back from. And unfortunately, it's not an interpersonal thing. It's that we've just become tired of not being represented, not having the same advantages and opportunities that other people have. And then the conversation gets shut down because people are like, I'm not racist. I believe in diversity. I believe in all colors. But you're still earning money from systems that are oppressing and promoting that,
Jordan, have you ever felt a need within this industry, because we do talk about the need to either blog a certain way, have your style a certain way. Have you ever felt the need to succumb to that in exchange for being successful or what they deem as successful?
I feel like you should know me by now. No, I'm like one of the most honest and transparent people, and on my blog, I say I'm affordable fashion. When I mean affordable, I don't mean $100 dress, because that's not what the average girl can afford.
Target,
you know,
Ross,
yeah, like this is a Target jacket, and I'm all
Target.
about it. You know what I mean? That's when I started my blog. I was like, I'm going to stand for what I want to promote and what I want to believe in and be passionate about. So, no.
Well, and I noticed that when I went to your blog too. Is like I could tell it was pretty authentic.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of who you are, kind of like the show is for me. It's like, I'm not here pitching nobody. Nope. I'm not making any money. Nope. You know, in fact, it's costing me money. So it's like,
so it's like more money to put it. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
because
true.
I always want my authentic voice. I mean, from the beginning, I didn't want to be paid for, and I still don't. I still won't pitch anything unless I believe in it. And I think that that's really cool about, you know, what you do and what Stephanie does, what Leah does, and what I do. We're all kind of that more authentic voice, and I think you have to continue to do that. And I think because we are talking about it, but there are so many diverse people out there. Like I was talking to Dixie, and she gets paid to for camera equipment and to use certain camera equipment. And then she went to Italy to promote a bag that has 4 rollers
Dixie,
on it.
are you hiring? We've met before.
But she's a specific influencer. Yeah. She doesn't fit the mold. It's not, she's not talking about fashion. No. You know what I'm saying? She's not paid for that. So there are people out there. It's just depending on, we just need to not support the platforms that are doing this. And there are specific ones that we know for sure that are pretty focused on that.
If you see it, it helps to speak up. So when all of this happened, and this is what I struggle with, is that my DM was full of people that said, thank you. I just, I didn't want to post this on my page, but I totally agree with you. I've seen it going on. I want to help. But sometimes being silent and not in assistance is almost kind of like, in my opinion, well, you're kind of siding with the other team, because on the surface, in front of everybody, you don't want to let them know that you didn't agree with it.
Well, you're just letting the system continue,
right?
If you don't say anything. I
mean, there was a ton that was like, oh, I just feel like I really don't want to speak up, but that was so true. I'm so sorry. Did I feel the same way?
Right.
And I'm just like, have my back, sister.
Well, we're going to talk more about this. We have part 2 coming up. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining our first part of the panel. And we're just getting started here, so you guys stay tuned.
We have to have part 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Look at you. Go, girl. That's rock. Those are my fabulous girlfriends. They just look so fab.
Man, boss babes, 100%.
I don't think people understand just how difficult of an industry this is. The amount of work, like you see the pictures, but you don't understand the styling the outfits, arranging the photographer, hair, makeup, keeping up with product reviews. I mean, I'm probably leaving out a lot.
Oh, sending and...
Pitching yourself,
pitching, finding location,
controlling editing. Audiences that go rogue when you
it's
post.
Crazy. It's crazy. Well, we have a new little group in our part 2, and we have Cynthia here.
Cynthia, the
OG. She's the OG of vlogging. I don't mean to be rude.
Is that like a light way of saying I'm old?
No.
Well, I mean, no.
The thing is, before there was any of the bloggers, there was Cynthia.
I love Cynthia.
I loved it. I mean, she really, and I mean, seriously, she did start it out. And you're not old, because I'm just as old as you. So.
And I know when I moved back from Houston and just kind of started everything back in Dallas, Cynthia's name was the one, like, you got to get in her good graces. So I was like, I'm not pissing Cynthia off when at all.
You'll be off the list.
Cut, chop. So Cynthia, just in case folks don't know who you are, which if you don't, just don't admit that. Remember, keyboard thugs. Let them know who you are and what you do.
You are so sweet. So, I have the awesome privilege of kind of having one foot in the blogger world and one foot in the marketing advertising world. So by profession, I am an owner of an advertising and marketing firm called Gangway Advertising that I own with my husband. And we're a lifestyle boutique firm working with what I call the fun stuff: beauty, fashion, travel. And then for fun, I started this blog in 2008 called Oh So Cynthia, where I just share stories and talk about what I think gives Dallas its flavor. So the people, places, and things that kind of make this city what it is. And which is really what I do in my job as a publicist, right? I tell people stories and I bring attention to things that I think are cool and people need to know about. So for me, that's kind of how I got started, and then kind of just became an influencer really by the fact that I talk about other people. You know?
Which I love, because you have a point of view and you don't steer from it.
She doesn't.
I don't care how many people come at you. Cynthia will, she's a fighter.
Well, and I think that's the beauty of this blog not being my profession. Like, the money I make, I call it's like I have a hobby gone wild. I always say, how lucky am I that most people pay for their hobby and I get paid for mine. So for me, I'm not, my livelihood isn't reliant on the blog, which really gives me the freedom to say and do what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm all about saying what I feel.
Well, okay. Well, we're going to get to that because when Sundance Gate 2019 happened, and then I put some stuff on Twitter, Cynthia was going at it with some of the followers, and I'm just getting these ping notifications. And then I was like, well, she actually kind of right. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But we also have here Tara Fuller of Terrorized. And look at this doll here. Like, I stalk you. I was in her DMs last night. I probably woke up at 3 or 4 and you were talking about a NARS, I don't know if it was a blush or makeup palette. And I said, can you send me your affiliate link? I want to buy it through you because this is awesome. So she's just amazing. And tell everybody a little bit about you.
Your blog.
Oh gosh. So by profession, just like Cynthia kind of came at this with something already in her back pocket. So I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for several years now, and
you're like every man's hot nurse fantasy.
I
mean, look at her.
Hello, nurse.
Oh no,
that's so true. Animaniacs.
Groping of nurses is a thing. It's not very fun.
Smart and beautiful, a lethal combination.
Thank you. But you know, as a nurse, you know, we very much, you know, our job is to advocate for our patients, and you know, on the flip side, you know, nurses, you're in scrubs. I worked at night for years, and my husband he's a military pilot. You know, so he was gone a lot and deployed, and you know, we were stationed different places where, you know, I didn't really know a lot of people, so I felt like I was almost losing myself, you know, in just the routine and the scrubs, and my personality wasn't shining anymore. So I came back to Dallas, and people, you know, were, you know, asking, as I have always loved fashion and beauty, and you know, they're asking, oh my gosh, you know, are you a blogger? I'm like, well, no. And they go, well, you should consider it. And so, you know, I did, and it became something that I just never, you know, dreamed possible. You know, the people that you meet, the connections you make, and the voice that comes out, which has been something I have treasured probably the most.
That's awesome. So what is y'all's take on what happened in Fort Worth?
We'll do Cynthia's first, and then we'll get to.
I'm
calling Tara. I'm changing her name. Tara Fuller.
Well, you know what I loved about Leah's stance was it because at first I was like, ooh, look at Leah stirring it up. I love it.
She loved it. She boiled her tea. I'm just gonna watch.
I was like, put on that pot.
Popcorn.
Stirring. But what I love, it's like, to me, again, coming from the marketing background, the first thing that came to my mind is, you know, 30, 40 years ago, the saying used to be like, if you have a problem, like write a letter to the editor, right? Take it to City Hall. If you have an issue, that's how you get things solved. And in today's digital world, I don't have to rely on the editor publishing my letter. I'll just get on Twitter and say it myself.
And call them out.
And so I love that it's basically, you know, to me, that's the beauty of social media. It's really, you know, kind of the, what I think is the beauty is that now you have a direct link of communication. You don't have to call an 800 number or write a letter to the president and hope that the secretary takes it. You know, you don't have to go through all those channels. You have a voice and can talk to thousands or millions of people and get directly to the decision maker. And so that, for me, was what I loved seeing about what you did. I mean, right or wrong, it's that you have a direct pipeline to the decision maker, and kudos to them that they were open to the conversation and said, we'd love to have you come in and let's talk about it.
And you affected change.
Right.
Because of it.
Right.
So what did you think whenever she came on? Like,
well,
what was
blogger
your personal
generalized. I think it was a generalization argument.
Well, when she talked about her following going rogue, that's when I jumped in and I was like, hold
on.
Hold the phone before we vilify all white women.
And that's the problem. So tell her a little bit about that back and forth conversation that happened. I don't remember the direct tweet, but I think it was a very generalization that
it was a very
pretty much all white bloggers get this kind of level or this platform, and then Cynthia jumps in like, hold up.
Right. So again, you know, defending the 3 bloggers who were in that campaign, you know, I was sort of like, hold up a minute. Like, this is not to say that the 3 women they selected do not work hard and are not good at what they do. So let's not take that away. Like, I understand we're speaking about the bigger issue in general, but it's real easy to pounce on those 3 girls.
Right.
And that's not fair. Because like Jordan said, like I was just honored to be asked. And so don't take anything away from her or the other girls. I think it's really more, again, it just goes back to the bigger issue. And so, you know, my comment to you was, you know, I looked at that picture and said, why are they all 28? Like, hello, where's the over 40 representation?
Right.
Like, I'm 51, and I still think, I like to think that I'm kind of cool and still, you know, have it. So it's
with the Coca-Cola red hair.
Like, I'm not ready to just
hair.
go sit down in the rocker. Like,
not yet.
Yeah, and we have
Cynthia will still
money.
be blogging from the rocker. Let's not kid ourselves.
I'm about to hit up the AARP for some brand partnerships. Like,
hit her up now, you know, Cynthia, Cynthia.com.
That's right. So, you know, to your point, you know, and Christian Craven, we were like, where are the male bloggers?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just think you know, the audience is so wide, especially for that particular campaign. And so I think the issue at hand is really more, can we have these conversations with the brands who are making decisions and the agencies that are creating these campaigns to say, you know, are you just making these decisions because this is what has been and it's just easy? Or, you know, at what point do you say, who is really our audience, and are we going to be brave enough to sort of, you know, branch out and try something different? And
I love that.
And I think what you've seen is, you know, in the last 10 years or so, plus size models, you know, used to not exist, and now it's totally, you know, a thing.
I get money.
You know, and so and now you see plus size models walking couture runways, like, and so, but it's taken a decade or more to make that happen. And so I think these are things that will not happen overnight, but they are happening, and it's because of conversations like this that it will come faster.
For sure. And Tara, just real quickly, what happened whenever all this happened with you?
Oh gosh. So I'm very bold by nature, just kind of unafraid to put it out there.
Yeah.
And you know, I got on Facebook and just kind of la-di-da, like scrolling through the feed, and then I see actually Stephanie's post that she had kind of continued from Leah's discussion. I was like, oh my, like, what is happening? So, you know, I pick it up and, you know, start putting that on my social media channels, mainly Instagram, you know, to kind of continue the voice and, you know, give it a bigger platform, you know, because everything they were saying was right. And, you know, like I said, you know, with nursing, I'm very much, you know, an advocate for people, you know, try to be a voice for, you know, the underdog, so to speak. So, you know, especially causes like diversity and inclusion, it's not talked about enough. It's, you know, it's an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people. So that was really the motivation behind kind of me adding my voice to it and being like, you know, okay, there's a much bigger conversation.
So I did not see your comment. What is it that you said? What was your opinion?
Gosh, there were a lot
I think one of the most important ones, and you mentioned this too, Cynthia, that Tara was kind of communicating with me while all this was going on, was just like, let's not take away from the big issue. We could get to some very minute things, But what she was saying, overall issue is that we have a problem with this. So let's focus with this, this issue. Leah's going towards Sundance Square rather than trying to take it and go here and here and say
or
these
attack
things.
other people.
Right.
And like what they're wearing and what they look like and their skin color and that kind of thing.
Like this affects a whole body of people at large versus I can see how it felt like personal attacks, but then she on her IG was like, wait. Go look at Leah's Facebook Live. She clearly explains that she appreciates the hustle of all the bloggers, but this is directly against Sundance Square.
And that, in the end, they need someone like to hire Cynthia or you for their marketing campaign.
Yes, I am for hire Sundance Square.
Ebony and Ivory.
I mean, that's all. That's what it comes down to, is that you need someone's like eyes like theirs on it. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me today, and I love this discussion, and we'll continue this on in numerous episodes because it's all about coming together, understanding, and educating ourselves and others about who we are and how we're all connected.
And no one was hurt at the Sundance Square. We actually kumbaya. We're cool now. I'm friends with all the bloggers. I follow them.
And can we just say kudos to Sundance Square?
Yes,
they reacted the way a company should. So I want to give them a special shout out.
And hire these two.
Yeah.
New D&I board.
Exactly. Well, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next Friday.